we are live on location at YEG's Ice Fest. We're talking to Jess, a manager with Climb YEG. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us. We're super excited to be here. A lot of cool stuff and cool things to see, but we're going to start with Jess telling us just a little bit about herself.
Hi, I'm Jess. I've been in the climbing community in Edmonton for a few years now. I would say coming on 8 just about. I've started as a boulderer, and of course, naturally, you sort of pick up so many different disciplines when you love the sport. So, of course, now I'm into ice climbing and dry tooling, and yeah, I'm super excited to be a part of Climb YEG.
Awesome. And so ice climbing, I guess, is kind of self-explanatory. You're climbing on ice, correct?
Yes, that's right. I guess the only difference really is you've got sharp things in your hands and on your feet, and of course it's outside in the winter. So rather than climbing on rock, you're climbing on ice.
Gotcha. And then what is dry tooling?
So dry tooling is essentially when you're using those same tools, but you're climbing rock. So it pretty much comes from alpinism. When you're ascending a tall mountain, often you're going to come across rock, you're going to come across ice and snow. And so it's good to be able to be competent in all disciplines, climbing on different types of substrates and materials.
And what got you into ice climbing and dry tooling and all of those wonderful things?
Well, we live in Edmonton, so there's not a lot to do in the winter unless you're a big skier. So because I climb in the summer, I wanted to start climbing in the winter. And so naturally, yeah, you climb ice and you get into it just by the amazing community. People are so knowledgeable and encourage everybody to get out in all seasons. So yeah, that's how I stumbled upon it, was just from friends.
And that's how you also got involved with Climb YEG as well?
Yeah, that's right. So I came to the ice climbing competition last year, and I thought, this is amazing. My partner had also competed in that in last year's competition, and so I thought, this is amazing. I want to get more involved, and I want to see what we can do in this community and how we can build up ice climbing and dry tooling. So that's kind of how I got involved with it.
Wow. And for folks who don't know, what is Climb YEG?
Climb YEG is a premier training facility for all disciplines of climbing, including ice climbing, dry tooling, and sport climbing. And we prioritize making this venue as accessible as possible to our Edmonton community members and our Edmonton climbing community members, of course. We actually recently discovered this. We thought this was just a North American specific fact, but this is a worldwide specific fact. Climb YEG is the first of its kind to host official sport climbing and ice climbing competitions. We have the ability to switch out between both ice climbing and both sport climbing, and this is unlike any other facility in the world.
Wow. That's so cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Which would you say is your favorite, ice climbing or like the dry tooling and being on the rock?
Oh gosh. Oh man, I don't know. I think I like both of them equally. They're super different. I think ice climbing is more of an adventure sport. You know, you get to go to locations that you've never seen before. When have you ever been on the inside of a waterfall? And
So cool.
you know, you can do that when you're ice climbing. Whereas dry tooling, it's really hard, technical, specific movements. So you get to test your physical limits and see just what you can accomplish. So I love them both equally, honestly. It just depends on what mood I'm in. Do I want to try hard or do I want to see some pretty things?
Fair. And there's a time and place for both of those.
Totally.
And we're here today at the Ice Fest, which is a yearly event here in Edmonton. Can you speak about what folks could find if they were to attend?
Yeah, absolutely. We have tons of activities that happen. Not only do we have try dry tooling and try ice happening at our facility, we also have multiple vendors. We have activities that happen in the background as well. So we have a partner here who provides opportunities to attendees to try fat biking, to try ski touring. There's fun and games. Of course, if you like to have a beer, you can do that as well. And just honestly, coming for the community is really, really what makes it so special.
A great place to come if you are into the outdoors, maybe want to get into the outdoors, or just have a fun place to go in the wintertime. Because like you said, Edmonton is a pretty cold city at times, and this is such a positive way to spend a winter day. I know it's not super cold right now. I'm shocked, but There's so many activities, and we're super excited. We're going to do the Try Ice. We'll see how that goes. Do you have any tips for us when we do that?
Yes. Just have so much fun out there. Don't be afraid to really push yourself. You are super safe on that rope. We have experienced belayers here who know what they're doing, and don't be afraid to ask questions, because I know oftentimes getting into a new sport, you can kind of let your ego get in the way, but ultimately it's so much more fun when you just immerse yourself and you're new at something. It's a feeling that really got me into the sport initially. It's like, oh, I've never tried this thing before. I'm new, and I want to see what I can do. So yeah, just try your best out there. Have so much fun, and you should also try the dry tooling wall as well.
Okay, maybe we will. We'll see how how the ice one goes. Which would you say? You said that dry tooling is more technical, right? So I guess it's better we start with the ice.
Yeah, start with the ice and then come over to the bouldering wall, and I'll show you all of the cool technical moves that you can do.
Perfect. And I also want to mention that we got to sign up online for the Try Ice, and I think you also sign up online for dry tooling. Thank you. Sorry. And they're both free to try, as well as this event here. Like, obviously, there's vendors and places to eat, things to drink, all that jazz that costs you some money. But the event itself is free, which I think really helps to that accessible standpoint for any community members who are maybe unsure if this is something for them, or just want to come take a peek and see what it's all about. Everyone we've ran into so far has been super nice and kind and willing to chat with us. So come check it out on your own. And we'll do just a couple more questions because I know you have things to get back to. But what would you say is the hardest part of the work that you do?
I think convincing people to try ice climbing, it's a little bit scary at first because you're holding sharp objects made of metal. I understand how that can be scary at first, but once you learn the technique, it's super safe. It's all with experience, really. It's the same as rock climbing. You know, you're outside, there's of course going to be inherent risks, but when you learn from people who know what they're doing, you know, you'll be safe.
It's the best way to learn, when people know what's
Yeah.
up. And then on the flip side of that, what is the most rewarding part of the work that you do?
Honestly, just the community itself is incredible. I know that this is probably across the board with all events, but seeing people come out, spend their time outside learning something new, it's just, I see the fire in people's eyes, and it's really exciting because this is, you know, a permanent structure now here for minimum 3 years.
That's so exciting.
I think, yeah, that's the most exciting thing for me, is to see just how big we can grow this community, and maybe we can grow Team Canada at the same time.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. So the fest here, I think today that we are here is the last day of this year's fest, but the wall is staying for 3 years.
Yes, that's right.
What does it look like moving forward for folks who would want to try the wall? How does that work?
So we are going to roll out a bunch of different programs, from a 90-minute program all the way to a 4-week program, where you come once a night per week, and you can finish off by going to the mountains and working with our guiding partner. So a very rewarding experience. You put in the work here, and then you get to do it outside in the mountains. We are going to offer dry tooling year-round, of course, and then we'll also be switching over to sport climbing in the summer. So we'll offer dry tooling, sport climbing in the summer, and then dry tooling and ice climbing in the winter.
Wow. Starting off with this wall, where do you hope to see Climb YEG in the next, say, 5 years?
Oh, honestly, I would love to see this as a permanent structure, switching over from scaffolding maybe to something more concrete.
And last question, not specific to climbing or anything like that, but what would you say is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
The energy you put out is the energy you will receive. And I think that echoes really nicely here with this community, because everybody is so warm and welcoming, and you receive that on the flip end. So that's probably my favorite piece of advice.
Perfect. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you so much.
I'm Jeff Thompson. I'm a member of Team Canada Ice Climbing. I'm also a manager here at Climb YEG and a designer of some of the elements here at Climb YEG.
So what got you into climbing?
Rock climbing, I originally started in 2014. I don't really know what got me into it. I guess I always sort of was into climbing. Like I used to always try to do like the wildest things on the jungle gym. like try to put my fingers through the holes underneath. And I mean, eventually one day I just saw something and I just said, yeah, I'm gonna go try and start climbing. And when I first started going to vertically inclined here in Edmonton, I didn't even know, even like for the first year, I just went there and I did my own thing, listened to music. I didn't even really know that there were actual like routes. I thought you just like climb around and try and make it hard.
How have you developed your climbing skills from beginning, starting not knowing about routes or anything like that, to now being on Team Canada?
At first I got into bouldering. I feel like that's where most people start because it's the least barrier of entry. All you need is just a pair of climbing shoes and some chalk. You don't really need to confront your fear of heights at all either. You just got to go and, just try holding on to things for a long period of time. And then obviously like that, I guess I'm like that kind of person where I just want to like challenge myself. So I just kept pushing to try and do harder and harder boulders, indoor and outdoor. And then I eventually branched out, and I was winter time, and me and my buddy were like, hey, like, you want to try and do some ice climbing? And we were like, yeah, sure, let's get some ice tools and we'll just like drive around until we see a frozen waterfall in the Rockies. And that's what we did.
What a wild life you live.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's how I got into ice climbing originally. Tried to do it with like straight shaft ice tools, and it's like that's not really preferred. It's sort of like gone by the wayside. And then I bought a house. This is how I got into dry tooling. I bought a house. It had a second floor in the garage, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool if I plywooded the roof because it was at like a 45-degree angle. It'd be cool if I put plywood up the stairs and like put some big like wooden holds like this, and I just get like really good at ice climbing. And then it turned into like, oh, who can do like the hardest route? Who can do the hardest move? And I started making holds out of hardwood and drilling holes in them because like at first I didn't even know it was a real thing, to be honest. Like I actually didn't know. And so we were just like trying to do all these like crazy moves, and we were like putting our heels on the tools and stuff like that, and like that's like you're not allowed to do that in competition at all. And then last year is when I really got into this. I like reached out to Team Canada, and I like asked them if there was a possibility I could compete and like try the sport, because like there is no way to try it until now. There's no way to like try this style of climbing unless you build your own little gym. So like this entire year I built my own little gym in the basement of a boxing gym downtown. The owner let me build this like little structure, and like that's how I trained for this whole competition, was just going down there and just grinding, doing laps and trying to stay on the wall and do the hardest moves I can.
Wow.
Yeah.
May I just ask, were you not scared at all, like randomly climbing like behind a waterfall in the Rockies, or like in your house building that? Like, was there no fear there whatsoever?
Yeah, there's definitely fear. Like I have like a fairly healthy self-preservation mechanism, I would say. Like even with this type of thing, like I'm happy to do like really hard moves on this, but like there's always like that voice in my head that's like, yeah, like you definitely don't want to fall here. Like you need to be careful here. Like, and like if I'm not afraid to like back off of something too, right? Like if I like commit to like go to a move and I'm like, oh no, like it's like I'm just gonna take it and I'm gonna blow off it and I'm gonna like flip backwards or something, like I'm probably not gonna do it. But I mean that's also how you like stay alive and not get hurt, so you can actually compete. And then when the competition comes, that's when you like put all that aside and you just like go full crazy, and you're just like, no, you're ready to die, right? Like,
Full ninja,
that's what
ready
I
to
say.
go.
I'm ready to die today.
How do you go from the mindset of like, is it simply the competition environment that lets you switch your mindset, or is there like, do you have a pre competition like ritual of like getting yourself ready for, now is the time where I'm quote unquote ready to die?
I would say, it took like last year I was like really, really nervous because we basically had like a warm-up session before, like 2 days before the comp, and that was the first time I ever kicked into plywood. Also the first time I ever put my boots on. And so I was like super, super nervous, but like really I had nothing to prove. but like, I mean, naturally, there's a lot of people watching, a lot of people I know. Like, this is the city I live in, right? So like, a lot of people know that I'm competing. They came and watched, and like, yeah, I came in dead last. So
But you did it.
I did it, and like, that really is the only way to get into this. So I mean, from there to this year, like, I made a huge improvement. And I mean, next year it's just going to be the same thing. So
Why do you think an event like this is important to have in Edmonton?
the actual comp,
Yeah.
I think like it shows people, like something outside of the norm. This is something that's like, it's pretty underground still, even though like the UIAA is international. Like, as far as like North America goes, like, this is an underground sport. It's like the same as like, I would say it's what climbing was back in like the 90s and early 2000s. It'd be like you knew somebody that rock climbed. It's like, oh really? Like, you do that? That's kind of weird. But now it's like everybody you meet on the street is like, oh yeah, I go rock climbing sometimes, like, and now it's like super popular being in the Olympics and all that. And this sport is going to be in the Olympics hopefully in 2030. This year, and actually in like a couple of weeks, they're deciding like the final preps and meetings for it to see if it's going to be in the Olympics. So that's also like, I think, a big drive for us is we want to have like a proper team so that when we show up, like, we can come home with like a proper medal, and we can actually do really well. Yeah.
I think it should be. It's really hard. And I base sports off if they're hard for me. All of them are hard for me. So they're all sports.
Yeah.
Which version of climbing, I guess, would you say is your favorite? Like dry tooling, ice, bouldering?
I think dry tooling is my favorite for sure. Like the competition style aspect, dry tooling. It's like dry tooling can also incorporate like climbing on rock. I like dry tooling outside, like, it's fun, but the challenge and like the complexity of climbing on the competition surface, it's like you get into all these different positions that you can never get into. You can put pressure in different ways that like can never happen outside. And yeah, like typically the rock outside is like typically like kind of, it's not the strongest as well. Because if it was really strong and it was really quality, then it would be a sport climbing crag. Yeah.
What would you say is the hardest aspect of climbing?
Just climbing in general.
Yeah.
I mean, competition climbing, I would say, is like the mental, for sure. Climbing itself, like, I mean, it's really open for anybody. You can, as long as you're coming into like just to compete with yourself, it's like anybody can do it really. Like you can be young, old, whatever, it doesn't matter, and you can come in. And I think like nowadays it's so accessible to the general public, and that's kind of like what we're trying to do here too, is make this accessible to the general public and then get people interested in it. Because like I said, up until now, like, you want to get into this, like, you need to know somebody who has a cave in their basement, right? So
People need to know you to come to the gym.
yeah, exactly. And you also need to buy $1,000 pair of boots so that you can try it, right?
On the flip side, what would you say is the most rewarding part of climbing?
I don't, like, for me, like, I just like to feel strong, right? Like maybe it's like an ego thing, I don't know, but it's like, for me, I like to feel like I'm pushing my personal boundary like constantly, and whatever I get into, like, doesn't matter what it is, like, I always want to push and be like better than the norm at it.
What advice would you have for aspiring climbers?
I would say you need to put in a lot. If you want to be good at climbing, you want to be like good at climbing, you need to put in a lot of work. You got to put in a lot of time, and you have to be kind of willing to suffer a little bit. And by suffer, I mean like just when you're like ready to, like, you're starting to feel uncomfortable, you're starting to feel tired, it's like that's when you need to like make that next move, or like you need to try to make that next move as hard as you can. And that's like the only thing that I've ever found that like will make you like open up a new gate and you can now step through it.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
Yeah, nice talking to you.
Hey everyone, we are at the Ice Fest, and Sahara and I are going to try the ice climbing and the dry tooling, and I'm super excited.
I think it looks pretty easy, and I'm just saying this because I have rock climbed before, so I'm hopeful. I may be eating my words, but we'll see.
Let's see what happens.
Exactly.
I think we can do this.
I think
We'll
so
kill
too.
it.
Like children here.
Yeah,
They're
kids are
doing,
doing
it,
it,
so
so.
we can do it.
Not to negate kids' abilities,
No.
because kids are very able. If
That's-
anything, they're more capable because of the fact that they're like young. And I think having the young mindset of like, I can do anything I set my mind to, and like not thinking about how rickety your bones are, because
Yeah.
that often crosses my mind of
It's-
like, I'm going to
yeah.
get hurt.
It's
That's the
awesome.
thing.
For sure. They always say like kids and stuff are more willing to do things because they don't have that experience of experiencing falling or pain or etc. So they just will go into it. Whereas we have years and years of
Years
falling,
of
and pain.
falling and not being good and just struggling.
I'm still hopeful, and I
Yeah.
think we can do this.
Yeah, very long-winded way of we're gonna crush this.
Yeah.
Because we are capable of crushing it.
Mhm.
So watch
So-
out, Ice Wall. We're coming for
Yeah.
you.
So they would set this in a way where you can easily like slide right off the ends, and there's nothing to stop you, right? This would actually be in like competition. This would be like amazing hold. Like you'd love that. It's like a little dimple, like a kind of a pocket with closed ends, right? So like the tool is trapped in there, but they would set it in a way that you would have to be like very, very tense to stay into it. What else do we got? Oh yeah, these guys right here. These are called a wrap. So like you probably wouldn't take it like that. You'd want to take it like more over here. But you can see like it's like pretty close to wanting to come off already, even though like I'm literally just like resting my hand on it. So like something like this, like you can move all around it as long as you're in the correct angle. As long as you're controlling your tool angle and you're keeping your pick in there, then you're good to go. Like you can move all around that, right? And they'll set things like this where you have to go, like you'll have to come up into it and then walk yourself up under tension and like not change your tool angle, right? So this is a Stein pull, which is like probably one of the would be considered a rest. Actually, I'll show you here because it's a little bit better. Yeah, so that's a Stein pull. So it's really, really good. Once you put the pick in there and you engage the cheeks into the wall, there's so much like kinetic energy, I guess you would call it, or like dynamic force, that like the tool doesn't move. Because you're just like, it's like the force multiplication of that into this hold. So like these holds have to be really strong too. But yeah, like this is considered really good.
That's like stronger than I thought it was, though.
Yeah, it's really good.
I feel like low-key you could actually hang on. Not low-key because you said that I could. So
It's a borderline rest. Yeah, like you can hang off it. Try it.
I can't hold myself with one hand.
Well, put your feet on though. You can put your feet on. Yeah. Yeah.
Where,
You can basically go to any hold after that if you want.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to trust it, I know.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the mind, like it's a mind game of like, am I going to survive or fall onto? Well, this is.
Yeah. Mhm.
I couldn't imagine actually doing this.
Yeah, and it's really hard too. Like you imagine going to this when you're under like a lot of tension and you're just like trying to hit it, but like now you have to like hit it like not just like, oh, I got it. It's like you need to hit it like, okay, now I have it good. Yeah.
Set you up for the
Yeah,
next
like I have this good, because like once it's on there, it's not like you can go and be like, okay, oh yeah, it's good now. Like you're under too much tension, you can't do that.
So if any of you saw me climb, no, you didn't,
No.
because I made it halfway. I think
She did.
I think you can consider that
Yeah.
halfway. My arms, I'm surprised I can hold this mic up right now. Like genuinely, my arms are so sore. What a hard sport.
It is, and it's a lot of like muscle to mind connection, and I think both of them were lagging today because I was so confused. They have these little spikes on the boots, and they're like, yeah, you can balance on them. what do you mean I can balance on that? No, thank you. And then on top of that, I felt like I was extremely short for this. So like this distance between everything. And usually I don't let my height deter me from doing things. But I think I got a third of the way, maybe. I was climbing up and I'm like, I don't have the arm span or wingspan to reach the next one. So I did give up early.
It was easier once I straightened my arms and learned some proper technique, but still a very difficult sport, not in a way that I want to deter any of you from ever trying it. I think this festival is super great and awesome, and now this wall is going to be up permanently for the next 3 years. So if it's something that you're like, psh, I could go all the way up, you probably could. I believe in you. Look into it. Climb YEG offers so many great events and courses and things that they're going to be doing over the next little while for folks to try out, and really accessible, having it in the heart of the city
And
here.
free.
And free.
Because-
the Ice Fest was, I'm not sure about moving forward,
Yes.
but they will have an Ice Fest every year
Yes.
that will be free. So
Yes.
that one is free. But super fun to try. Amazing event, great people.
Yes.
We ate our words, but it was still fun. I want to like make sure I dig into that. As much as I say my arms are exhausted and I didn't do well, I still had fun. Hey everyone, just finished up. So exhausted.
Yes.
Not only from climbing, but from climbing the stairs. So much fun though. I think I said a lot in like Sahar and my wrap up of climbing, but it's a super fun event that's super accessible. Free. Who doesn't love free? And you get to try new things. So like, what's not to love?
Yeah.
Or you can just come and like scope it out if it's something of like
That's
mild
what I did,
interest.
because I won't go anywhere that's not ground. But it was fun watching everyone. Like,
It's also like really fun because it's in like the River Valley area, so everything's like pretty and nice.
there was, sorry to interrupt, there was
you're
bikes
good.
too that they were like renting out for free, so you could go, I think it's called fat biking, with like the big tires, so that's really fun.
So super fun, super cool.
And great weather.
Great weather and great like
Atmosphere,
thingamabobbers.
views.
No,
Oh,
I mean
people?
yes, but like the things, the like food trucks,
Oh yes,
drinks options, and like other vendors and stuff. There was like some really cool breweries and like that sort of stuff too. So like check it all out. Climb YEG.